Hey, Shalom Shalom Mishpocha. Welcome to another edition of Ray Bash's Ramblings. I'm your host, Rabbi Yehuda Ben Shomer, and I decided to make a part 2 for my video, Eye for an Eye, seeing as I had received a email from a friend who had a very valid and legitimate question regarding the scriptures, specifically in Leviticus chapter 24, verse 19, and it says, "If a man causes a blemish in his neighbor, as he hath done, so shall it be done unto him. Breach for breach, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. As he has caused a blemish in a man, so shall it be done unto him again." And people are saying, well, how do you reconcile this with your interpretation of an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth? Well, as I explained in the first video, that eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth is a well-known Hebraic idiom within Scripture that is historically well known in Judaism, that it is referring to monetary compensation. Let's take the eye, for example. If someone injures someone else and causes a 30% loss of vision, there is no possible way that the guilty party, that the people that are dishing out the punishment and restitution for the crime, would be able to create an equal 30% loss of vision in that person's eye. So therefore, since there's not an equal exchange, the rabbis and sages of blessed memory decided that monetary compensation would be the best. Let's say that the man uses his eyes mainly for his occupation. Well, they would figure in his wages throughout his lifetime, and the guilty party would have to compensate for his loss of wages and loss of time, especially if he doesn't get the vision back in that eye. So it was impossible to literally do an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Now, if someone had tortured someone and cut off their limb at the elbow, well, that is pretty exact and pretty equal, and the punishment for that crime, you could literally take a limb for a limb, because you could know where the person cut the person's arm off, so that would be equal. But if somebody crushed someone's hand, you couldn't crush equally that other person's hand, so therefore monetary compensation comes into play. Now, the rabbis and sages also got creative in their judgments. They would also make the punishment fit the crime. For instance, if a man's hand got crushed and he was out of work until his hand healed for several months, then the guilty party would actually have to do his job as a blacksmith or a woodsman or whatever he did with that hand until the man's hand healed. And if the man's hand never healed and it was permanently, irreparably damaged, then monetary compensation would come into play there, and he would have to compensate for the wages lost throughout his lifetime, or be in servitude to that person for the rest of his life. So now capital punishment, where it's a case of murder, in that case it was a life for life. How the person died or how the person was murdered is irrelevant. The thing is, it is a literal life for life. Doesn't matter how the life was taken. A life was taken nonetheless, and the life can't be brought back. So capital punishment was put into place, because if you notice in the Torah, there is no such thing as a penal colony or a prison system or anything like that. The only thing that there is cities of refuge for people who has committed accidental homicide and crimes that weren't premeditated, and they were to stay in the city of refuge so they wouldn't be avenged by the family who's so grieved that they want to get revenge. And when the high priest had passed away, they were let out of the city of refuge and can live back in the normal populace again. And if they were to go out before the priest had died, and the family met them on the way and they killed him, then the family seeking revenge wouldn't be liable for it, because the man knew that he couldn't leave the city of refuge. He left on his own will and own accord. So basically, he put himself in harm's way. So the avengeful family wouldn't be responsible for that. I just wanted to bring these things to light and to kind of clear these things up to you, to hopefully give you a better understanding of the what the Torah says regarding punishment and restitution in regards to damages of personal being and things of this nature. So hopefully this kind of brings things into balance and bring things into light. If they couldn't literally do an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, they were either monetarily compensated or they made the punishment fit the crime, so as things would be equaled out. Hopefully this clears up this matter. So thanks for watching, and thanks for your question. Shalom and Shavuot Tov. Bye-bye.